Something's been off about my wife, Lily, lately. How do I put it? It's like she's just not herself. A total sense of dissonance. It all started 3 days ago. I got home late that night, around 1 in the morning, after working overtime. I pushed the bedroom door open as quietly as I could. In the dim light from the hallway, I saw her curled up on the far side of the bed, bundled tightly in the covers with just a tuft of hair showing. That immediately set off alarm bells. My wife, Lily, married for 3 years, has always been the undisputed queen of hogging the bed. We have a king size, but she could make it feel like a twin. She's usually starfished across the mattress, covers kicked to the floor, pillow launched into some forgotten corner. Every time I came home late, I'd have to spend a good 5 minutes herding her limbs back to her side just to carve out enough space for myself to lie down. But that night, she was huddled in the corner like a frightened cat. I didn't think too much of it, just figured she wasn't feeling well. I got undressed and slid into bed beside her. Out of habit, I reached over to put my arm around her waist. She jolted. I'm not exaggerating, she literally jumped, like she'd gotten an electric shock. Then she rolled over. In the dark, her eyes were wide, staring right at me. You're home? Her voice was trembling. I just managed a confused. Yeah? She shrank back until her back was flat against the wall. You must be tired from working late. You should get some sleep. Okay. I reached for her again. She went completely rigid. Stiff as a board. With my hand on her waist, I could feel her muscles trembling. Lily? Are you not feeling well? No. I'm fine. Just go to sleep. And with that, she yanked the covers over her head. I stared at the lump under the covers for a few seconds, and a thought flashed through my mind. Is she cheating on me? But I dismissed it almost immediately. No way. I know Lily too well. If she were really seeing someone else, with that fiery temper of hers, she would have confronted me head-on by now, not put on this little stage play. Whatever. It's probably just her period. You know how women get once a month. I rolled over, left her to it, and fell asleep pretty quickly. The next morning, I woke up at 7:30. Lily wasn't in bed. I could hear clattering from the kitchen. Rubbing my eyes, I walked out to see her standing at the stove, frantically trying to fry an egg. She was coughing from the smoke, clutching the spatula like a weapon and just sort of poking at the egg, which was already blackened on one side. I leaned against the doorframe and watched her for a moment. Another red flag. My wife is a good cook. At the very least, she knows how to fry an egg without creating a charcoal briquette. Lily! She shrieked at the sound of my voice, nearly sending the spatula flying. When she turned and saw it was me, her face instantly flushed bright red, a blush that spread from the tips of her ears all the way down her neck. Why, you're awake? I'm making breakfast. You should go get washed up. She couldn't look me in the eye as she spoke, her gaze darting all over the place. I walked over and casually wrapped my arms around her from behind. This is our thing. She cooks, and I'll hug her from behind, resting my chin on her shoulder to watch. But today, she froze completely, spatula hovering in midair. I could see her knuckles were white from gripping it so hard. Her ears were so red they looked like they might burst. Honey, what's gotten into you today? And nothing. Then why are you shaking? I'm not shaking. You're just imagining things. The spatula made a wobbly circle in the air before she frantically went back to flipping the completely burned egg. I let go and took a step back. She visibly relaxed, her shoulders slumping in relief like she'd just survived a skydiving jump. I leaned against the fridge and watched her, the confusion in my mind growing. It wasn't cheating. A cheater wouldn't act like this. They'd be distant, cold, and patient. Lily's reaction wasn't any of those. Her reaction was more like shyness? No way. We're an old married couple, what's there to be shy about? Just last week, she was parading around the living room in nothing but her underwear right in front of me, without a single shred of modesty. The egg's burnt, I pointed out. She frantically scraped it out of the pan and onto a plate. It wasn't an egg anymore, it was a piece of charcoal. I'm sorry. I'll make another one. Those 2 words, I'm sorry, made my stomach drop. Since when does Lily apologize to me? The last time she threw my brand new AirPods Pro in the washing machine, she didn't even bat an eye. Just said, perfect, I wanted a new pair anyway. Go buy another set. And now this woman is apologizing to me? For a burned egg? I studied her profile. It was the same face. Oval-shaped, a small nose, thin lips, long eyelashes. She's 28 but takes good care of herself, easily passing for 23 or 24. But her whole demeanor had changed. How to describe it? It's like a phone with the same outer casing, but the operating system has been swapped out. She used to be iOS 16, bold, smooth, knew exactly what she wanted. Now she's like iOS 1.0, timid, cautious, and lagging every so often. She jumped again. What do you want for lunch? I'll order some takeout. Oh, whatever's fine. You can decide. My wife said. Whatever. My wife told me to decide. The old Lily, if I asked her what she wanted for lunch, would rattle off a list, down to the exact item number on the menu, complete with notes. No scallions, no cilantro, extra spicy. She'd have my head if I dared to change a single detail. And now she's telling me, whatever? That unsettling thought in my mind was getting clearer and clearer. My wife had become a different person. I don't mean that as a figure of speech. I mean it literally. But the idea was so absurd, even I couldn't believe it. After breakfast, I left for work. On my way out, I leaned in to give her a kiss, like I always do. The old Lily would have thrown her arms around my neck, deepened the kiss, and whispered, "Come home early tonight," in a sultry voice. Today's Lily, on the other hand, the second my lips touched hers, her eyes shot wide open and she froze like a statue. Then she yelped, stumbled back 3 steps, and knocked over the shoe rack. Her face was as red as a tomato. "WW, what are you doing? Kissing you? Why would you kiss me without saying anything first?" I just stared at her, silent for a solid 3 seconds. "Lily, do I need to file a formal request to kiss my own wife now? That's not what I meant. I just wasn't ready." "Ready for what?" "Mental preparation." With that, she snatched the briefcase out of my hand, shoved it back at me, and practically pushed me out the door. Go on, you're going to be late for work." The door slammed shut behind me. I stood in the hallway, staring at the closed door for a good 30 seconds. What the hell? Something was seriously, absolutely wrong with my wife. On the way to work, I mentally catalogued all the recent weirdness. 1. She's afraid of my touch. She used to be all over me, and now she flinches like I've shocked her. 2. The blushing. She used to have zero filter around me, and now she turns red to the roots of her hair if I even get close. 3. The kitchen disaster. She could cook a full-course meal before, and now she can't even fry an egg. 4. The politeness. "I'm sorry, whatever's fine, you can decide." 5. She can't look me in the eye. Her gaze is always darting away, never meeting mine. If these were the symptoms of a woman I'd just met, I'd think she had a crush on me but was too shy and inexperienced to know how to act. But this is my wife. We've been married for 3 years. And we dated for 3 years before that. 6 years? After 6 years together, she's suddenly acting like a teenager with her first crush? Could it be she has amnesia? I got to the office and was completely out of it all day. I zoned out during a meeting, and when my boss called on me, I gave an answer that was completely off topic. My colleague, Leo, noticed something was up and asked me about it at lunch. "You and the wife fighting again?" "We're not fighting." "Then why do you look so constipated?" "My wife's changed." "Changed how? Is she leaving you?" "No." I poked at the braised pork in my bowl. "She's become innocent." Leo choked on his food, spraying a mouthful of rice. "What the hell does innocent mean? Can you be serious for a second?" I couldn't explain it to him. What was I supposed to say? That my wife has suddenly started acting like a high school girl who blushes every time she sees me? People would think I was either crazy or just humble bragging. At 2 in the afternoon, I got a text from Lily Lynn. "What did you have for lunch?" I stared at the message, and my head started to buzz. Wrong. The message was from Lily Lynn's number, but the typing style was completely wrong. I scrolled through our chat history. "Last week, Lily. Idiot, we're going to that new Japanese place for dinner. Book a table for 7, be there on time 1 minute late, and you owe me $100. Today, Lily. What did you have for lunch?" The old Lily never used question marks. Everything was a command. And she never used punctuation, just fired off a long, rambling block of text. This new message was short, used a question mark, and even a period. It was polite. Like a casual acquaintance trying to make small talk. I texted back. "Braised pork over rice." "You?" Her reply came so fast I suspected she'd been staring at her phone screen. "I had instant noodles." "Isn't there food in the fridge? Why didn't you cook?" A moment passed before she replied. "I'm not very good at cooking." Not very good at cooking. My wife said she wasn't very good at cooking. Right. I took a deep breath and typed back. "Okay, then wait for me to get home and I'll cook. Don't let yourself go hungry." There's bread and milk in the fridge, have some of that to tide you over. Okay, thank you. Thank you. My wife said thank you to me. I put down my phone and stared at the ceiling for a solid 10 seconds. This was so not normal. After work, I didn't go straight home. I stopped at the convenience store downstairs and bought 2 milk teas, one with 30% sugar and one with 70%. She loves sweet things, so hers was always 70%. The living room was dark when I got home. There was only a faint light coming from the bedroom, probably from her iPad. I took off my shoes and walked over. The bedroom door was ajar. She was sitting on the bed, holding the iPad, her face illuminated by the screen's flickering light. She looked completely absorbed, like she was studying something important. I gently pushed the door open. Lily, I brought you milk tea. She instantly blanked the iPad screen. The speed, the panic, she might as well have tried to shove the whole thing under her pillow. Thank you. Thank you again. I handed her the tea and glanced at the iPad in her lap. The screen was black. I couldn't see a thing. What were you looking at? And nothing. Just scrolling through Facebook. Since when do you use your iPad for Facebook? You always use your phone. Just felt like a change today. A terrible liar. I didn't call her out on it. I just sat on the edge of the bed and started drinking my tea. She took the 70% sugar one, took a sip, and her eyes lit up. So sweet. Then she immediately caught herself, her expression faltering as she looked down. Her ears started turning red again. I acted nonchalant and picked up the remote to turn on the TV. What do you want to watch tonight? You choose. That you choose again. The old Lily Lynn, the TV remote was her weapon. She wanted to watch reality TV, I wanted to watch the game, and she always won. It wasn't that she'd win the argument with logic. She'd just sit right on top of the remote, look at me, and ask, You still want to watch the game? Then give me a little eyebrow raise. What could I do? I chose reality TV. But today, Lily had given the choice to me. I deliberately switched to the sports channel, putting on a Premier League replay. Liverpool versus Manchester City. She didn't snatch the remote. She sat on the other side of the bed, silently sipping her milk tea, quietly watching the soccer commentary that even I wasn't interested in. 20 minutes passed. She didn't say a word. Back when we used to watch games, she'd be on the sidelines, complaining nonstop. Why'd he kick it over there? Isn't he on the other team? It's in. It's in. Wait, why didn't it go in? Is this ref blind or what? Today, silence. She just sat there quietly. Her milk tea cup was already empty. She held the cup with both hands, her fingertips fidgeting with the lid. I had no idea what she was thinking. I turned my head to look at her. She noticed my gaze, whipped her head around, and our eyes met for a fraction of a second before she quickly looked down. Her face turned red again. A ridiculous thought suddenly popped into my head, this feeling. It was like we were back in high school, 10 years ago. Lily Lynn was just like this back then. She'd sneak glances at me in class, and if I caught her, she'd whip her head away, her ears burning red. But that was 10 years ago. Later, she confessed, we got together, and she never had that kind of shy reaction again. She grew bolder and bolder, more and more domineering. Lily. Are you hiding something from me? Her body went rigid, and the milk tea cup nearly slipped from her hands. No. What? I'm not hiding anything from you. She spoke incredibly fast, a classic sign she was lying. Really? Really? Why are you suddenly asking me that? Because you haven't been yourself lately. What do you mean I haven't been myself? I'm perfectly normal. You used to walk around in a tank top in front of me without batting an eye. Now you're wearing a nightgown buttoned up to the neck. She looked down at her nightgown, with the top button fastened and the collar cinched tight. What's wrong with wearing it buttoned up? It's fall. It's cold. The AC is set to 78 degrees. Well, it's still cold. I stopped talking and just stared at her. My stare made her squirm. She kept shifting uncomfortably until she finally just pulled the blanket over her legs. Don't look at me like that. Like what? It's just that kind of look. What kind of look? So I can't look at my own wife now? You can, but the way you're looking at me makes me. Her voice got smaller and smaller, until the last word was barely a whisper. Makes you what? Nervous. My God. Lily said I was making her nervous. This is the same woman who used to look me dead in the eye and ask, how many times tonight? Without even blinking. Suddenly, I found this interesting. Very interesting. Whatever was going on with her, this feeling. It was pretty refreshing. Fine, I'll stop looking. I turned back to the game. A moment later, I caught her sneaking a peek at me out of the corner of my eye. Cautious, like a thief. Her gaze landed on the side of my face, then slid down to my arm, then too, she yanked her eyes away. A small smile formed on my lips. That night, she slept on the farthest edge of the bed, wrapped up like a burrito. There was a veritable Grand Canyon between us. In the middle of the night, I turned over and my arm accidentally brushed against her hand. She snatched it back instantly, as if she'd been burned. Then she pretended to roll over, turning her back to me. But I could hear her breathing quicken. 3 days passed like this. Every day, a new layer of not right was added. I poured her a glass of water, and she took it with both hands and bowed, saying thank you. Bowed. My wife bowed to me. I walked out of the bathroom with just the towel around my waist, and she shrieked and covered her eyes. The old her would have come right up and tried to rip the towel off, saying, "Let me see if there's any shrinkage." I called her, "Honey," and she answered, but her voice was as thin as a mosquito's buzz. For 3 days, she initiated zero physical contact. She used to be a koala clinging to me. Now, she maintained a permanent safe distance of at least 2 feet. I became more and more certain. It was like this woman had a completely different soul. But I had no proof. Until the 4th day. The 4th day was a Saturday. I'd planned to sleep in, but I was woken up at 8 by a rustling sound. Lily Lynn was sitting at the desk, a laptop open in front of her. She typed awkwardly, pecking at the keyboard with her 2 index fingers, one key at a time, like a senior citizen learning to use a computer for the first time. My wife is a social media manager. She touch types at 120 words per minute. And now she was pecking at the keyboard with her index fingers? I pretended to be asleep, watching her through slitted eyes. I couldn't quite see the screen, but I could tell the page was blue. Blue. Facebook. A Facebook page. Who even uses Facebook like that anymore? It was 2024. The moment she went to the bathroom, I shot out of bed and was at the computer in 3 strides. The screen showed a Facebook page. It wasn't her current account. It was a different one. The profile picture was from high school, Lily Lynn in a white school uniform, her hair in a ponytail, smiling so wide her eyes curved into crescents. This was her high school Facebook account. She actually still remembered the password. My eyes fell on the latest post. Posted 3 days ago. Content. I woke up and 10 years have passed, and the guy with the worst grades in my high school class is now my husband. I've never even dated before. What do I do? Online, waiting. Urgent. He's going to want to sleep with me again. Should I call the cops? My brain blue screened for 2 seconds. Then it rebooted. Then it blue screened again. I read it again, word for word. I woke up and 10 years have passed. The guy with the worst grades in my high school class is now my husband. I've never even dated before. He's going to want to sleep with me again. Should I call the cops? The last 4 words exploded in my mind like a bomb. Call the cops. I'm going to have sex with my own goddamn wife and she wants to call the cops. I scrolled down to the comments. First comment. LMAO girl, are you drunk? Haha. Second comment. What is this main character syndrome? It's been 10 years, not 10 days. Third comment. Woke up and became his wife, huh? You think you're in some kind of urban fantasy drama? Fourth comment. The guy with the worst grades isn't necessarily ugly. Check out his face first. If he's hot, maybe don't call the cops. The fifth was a reply from Lily Lynn to the fourth comment. His face is actually really handsome, but that's not the point. I just turned 18 yesterday. I wake up and I'm 28. And I'm married to Ethan Liu. Ethan Liu, you know? The guy who was dead last in our class. He actually got into college and... The sixth was another reply from Lily Lynn. I'm not making this up. It's real. I'm living in a completely strange house. My ID has my name but says I'm 28. I didn't know the password to my phone and almost locked it trying a dozen times. I only found my old high school Facebook account and logged on for help because I still remembered the password. If you don't believe me, I'll tell you something. Mr. Lin's physics test next week, the answer to question 3 is B. Just wait and see. No wait, what am I waiting for? It's been 10 years, I'm doomed. I stared at the screen, my mind racing. 2 possibilities. 1. Lily was staging some kind of performance art. 2. My wife's soul had actually traveled back to her 18-year-old self. If it was the first, what was her angle? Chasing clout? Her Facebook account had less than 200 friends, half of whom were high school classmates, and the other half were middle school friends she hadn't spoken to in years. What kind of clout could she possibly get? If it was the second, then it all made sense. All of her strange behavior suddenly made perfect sense. She was afraid of my touch because she's never even been in a relationship. She didn't know how to cook because the 18-year-old Lily really didn't know how. She was polite and courteous because, in her mind, I wasn't her husband. I was just the guy from her class with the worst grades. She blushed because she was 18. She'd had a crush on me when she was 18, but she never said anything. Not until the day of our high school graduation. So now, facing me as her suddenly husband, of course she'd blush. Of course she'd be at a total loss. Of course she'd post "Should I call the cops" on her Facebook page. I heard the water running in the bathroom. She was about to come out. I quickly got back in bed, pulled up the covers, and closed my eyes. My heart was pounding like a drum. The bedroom door opened, and she tiptoed over. I sensed her pause in front of the computer, probably checking to see if it had been touched. Then she closed the laptop. Gently. With my eyes closed, my mind was spinning. What should I do? Confront her? Tell her I saw it? No. If I laid it all out, no matter how she reacted, it would shatter this delicate state we were in. If her soul really had reverted to her 18-year-old self, and I suddenly told her I know, wouldn't she be scared to death? And besides, a thoroughly improper thought bubbled up from the depths of my mind. I'm 28. Her soul is 18. But her body is 28. Doesn't that mean I'm with a girl who's barely an adult? No, that's too perverted. She's my wife. Legally. We have a marriage certificate. But that feeling, the way she blushed in front of me, shy and flustered, it was so damn exciting. More exciting than dating. More exciting than getting married. It was like opening a bottle of wine aged for years, only to be told it was actually a freshly brewed fruit cider, sweet, tart, crisp, and intoxicating from the first sip. I made a decision. I wouldn't say a word. I'd pretend I didn't know anything. Take it slow. Boil the frog slowly. Date her all over again. The thought made the corners of my mouth curl up. This was a gift from the heavens. Who gets an opportunity like this? To woo your own wife all over again after her soul reverts to her 18-year-old self. A courtship that could take place under the covers, no less. Heh heh heh. No, that laugh isn't right. I need to be serious. I rolled over, pretending to just wake up, and mumbled Lily. She paused by the desk. You're awake? Yeah. It's the weekend. Want to go out? She hesitated. Where to? How about a movie? A movie? Yeah, I think there's a new horror movie out. You've always been a huge fan of horror, right? How did you know I like horror movies? You told me before. She gave a soft, oh, and didn't press further. Then, let's go. What time are we leaving? You decide. You decide. Still making me choose. Fine, I'll choose. We'll head out at 10, grab some brunch first, and then catch an afternoon showing. Okay. Dress up a bit. I'm taking you to a nice restaurant. She glanced back at me, a faint pink flushing her cheeks. The phrase, dress up a bit, has zero impact in the context of an old married couple. But in the heart of a girl with an 18-year-old soul, this was a date invitation. A date invitation from her crush. I watched her hurry into the walk-in closet. The clinking of hangers echoed from inside, a clear sign she was carefully picking out an outfit. She took a long time. I leaned against the headboard playing on my phone. After 20 minutes, she still hadn't come out. Lily? You don't need to take that long. You look good in anything. The closet went dead silent for 2 seconds. See, can you not just say things like that out of nowhere? Her voice carried a touch of annoyance, but beneath that irritation lay the sheer embarrassment of someone who received a compliment and didn't know how to handle it. I smiled. A genuine smile. This feeling was so damn good. An 18-year-old Lily, the innocent version of Lily, the Lily who could be completely flustered by a single sentence from me. All those things that used to bother me, how she went stiff during hugs, her awkwardness when kissing, or her reluctance to get intimate, now everything made perfect sense. It wasn't that she was unhappy. She was just shy. She was only 18, after all. 20 minutes later, she finally emerged. She wore a light blue sundress, her hair tied in a low ponytail, with just a touch of light makeup. It was completely different from her usual style. The 28-year-old Lily preferred black and dark tones, form-fitting, sexy, and sophisticated. Today's outfit, however, made her look as pure and fresh as a college freshman. Yet, because she still had the face and figure of a 28-year-old, it added an extra layer of mature charm. How should I put it? The collision of innocence and maturity created a chemical reaction that made my Adam's apple bob. You look beautiful. she blushed again. Let's go, hurry up. She grabbed her bag and walked quickly toward the door, taking a wide detour around me as she passed. She was afraid I'd touch her. I followed behind, watching her back. Man, she was stunning. Once outside, walking through the apartment complex, she stayed on my left, keeping a distance of more than an arm's length. I naturally edged closer to close the gap. Sensing this, she quietly took half a step to the left. I edged closer again. She moved again. I edged closer once more. Finally, she couldn't move over any further. Any further, and she'd step right into the bushes. Can you stop walking so close to me? What's wrong with walking close to my wife? She swallowed back the word. Wife. The blush on her face deepening. You, walk on your side. On the street, the guy walks on the outside to protect the lady. Swap sides with me. She blinked in surprise. Then, hesitantly, she swapped places with me, moving to the inside. After the switch, she stole a glance at me. In that glance, there was something unsaid. Has it, always been like this? She suddenly asked in a small voice. I played dumb. What do you mean, always like this? Like you walking on the outside. Yeah, always. Ever since we started dating. She fell silent for a moment, lowering her head to look at the pavement. The rhythm of her steps changed. She stopped deliberately trying to keep her distance. Though she didn't lean in close, she wasn't dodging me anymore either. Step 1. A win. The restaurant was a quiet Japanese spot, a good environment for talking. After we sat down, she stared at the menu for a long time. What do you want to eat? I asked. The items on this menu are so expensive. She was pointing at a salmon sashimi combo that cost a chunk of cash. I almost laughed out loud. The 28-year-old Lily Lin never hesitated to spend my money. Just last month, she bought a designer bag worth thousands without batting an eye, saying, It's not like you bought it anyway, I earned it myself. But the 18-year-old Lily was still an incomeless high school student. To her, a premium combo meal was probably equivalent to a whole week's allowance. Expensive? Order whatever you want. But why be polite when you're out eating with your husband? She lowered her head, pinching the corner of the menu. Then I'll just have this. Add more if it's not enough. It's enough. When the food arrived, she ate with absolute focus. She dipped the salmon sashimi into soy sauce, taking bite after bite, her cheeks puffing out like a squirrel storing food. Every bite was accompanied by an appreciative murmur, looking completely satisfied. When the 28-year-old Lily Lin ate Japanese food, she was elegant and poised, looking like she had done it 100 times. When the 18-year-old Lily Lin ate it, she was full of novelty and joy, looking like it was her first time tasting something so delicious. I rested my chin on my hand, watching her eat. Is it good? Hum. She nodded, her chopsticks pausing. Why aren't you eating? Watching you eat is entertaining enough. She instantly put down her chopsticks, her lips pressing into a tight line. What are you staring at? It's weird. Is there a problem with watching my wife eat? Can you stop using the word wife all the time? Then what should I call you? Miss Lin? The words Miss Lin hit her right on target. Her eyes instantly widened. Then she quickly looked down, her ears turning completely red. Because in her memory, I only ever called her Lily, or by her last name in class. I had never called her anything else. But now I was calling her wife. The impact of this title was simply too overwhelming for her. What did you call me back in school? She asked softly. I called you by your name. Just your full name? Yeah, Lily. The corner of her mouth twitched slightly. Then, when you were in school, did you have someone you liked? I looked at her, letting the moment build. Yes. Her chopsticks froze. Who? It's a secret. Her expression turned incredibly complex in an instant. Her eyebrows knitted slightly, her lips pursed tightly, and her eyes stared fixedly at the small soy sauce dish in front of her as she poked the rim with her chopsticks. She looked jealous. Her 18-year-old crush just told her he liked someone in high school but wouldn't tell her who. Forget it if you don't want to say, she said, her tone turning sharp. I suppressed a laugh. Why are you suddenly upset? I am not upset. You're about to poke a hole through that dish with your chopsticks. She glanced down at her own hands and slammed the chopsticks down. I'm full. You're full after only 3 pieces of salmon? I have a small appetite. The old Lily Lin could single-handedly finish a whole order of sashimi, a bowl of udon, plus a side of tempura. I decided to stop teasing her and quit while I was ahead. That person was you. She was currently turning her head to look out the window, pretending to be angry. Hearing those 5 words, her movement stopped dead. Slowly, she turned back. What? Back in high school, the person I liked was you. The absolute truth. It really was true. It was just that back then, I didn't know she liked me too. The two of us had mutual crushes for 3 years without either saying a word, right until the day she graduated high school and rushed up to confess to me. Hearing this, her mouth opened slightly, as if she wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. Then, her eyes suddenly welled up with red. I was startled. Why are you crying? I'm not crying. There were indeed no tears falling, but the rims of her eyes were undeniably red. Then why are your eyes so red? The wasabi on the salmon got to me. Wasabi on plain salmon? I didn't call her out on it, and handed her a tissue. She took it, dabbed her nose, and muttered something. Her voice was incredibly quiet. I didn't hear it clearly, only catching a faint trace of the ending syllables. It sounded like, "Me too." Leaving the restaurant, we headed to the movie theater. I bought 2 tickets for a horror movie, back row, corner seats. A classic move. But I wasn't trying to pull anything. I really wasn't. I just wanted to see if the 18-year-old Lily was still the same tough girl who could munch on snacks while watching horror movies without flinching. The answer was, the moment the lights went down, she began to get restless. She kept adjusting her posture, her fingers gripping the edge of the armrest. When the first jump scare hit the screen, a bloody face suddenly popping up in front of the camera, she let out a sharp gasp and grabbed my arm. Her grip was so tight I almost yelled out. Then she realized she was holding on to me and froze right there, caught between a rock and a hard place. In the end, pride won over fear. She let go. But 2 seconds after she let go, another terrifying scene popped up. She shrieked, shrinking entirely toward my side. If you're scared. I extended my arm. She looked at my arm, hesitating for 2 seconds. Then she shrank back into her own seat, burying her face into her scarf. I'm not scared. Her voice came out muffled from inside the scarf, carrying a slight tremble. Scared. She was terrified. The 28-year-old Lily Lin, who had watched countless movies, and the 18-year-old Lily, who was just experiencing horror films, were 2 completely different concepts. Throughout the entire movie, she was startled at least 7 or 8 times. Every single time, she would instinctively shrink toward me, only to stubbornly retreat back to her spot. At one point, she really couldn't take it anymore and buried her face directly into my shoulder. I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch anymore. Her voice carried a crying tone. I reached out and covered her eyes. Don't be scared, I'm blocking it. Her entire body stilled for a moment. Then, she slowly relaxed. With my palm pressed against her face, I could feel her eyelashes fluttering against my skin like butterfly wings. There was also her breath, warm and soft, brushing over my fingers. At this moment, I felt a strange thrill, like a thief getting away with a heist. She was clearly my wife. It was entirely legal. But there was still this feeling of stealing the heartbeat of an 18-year-old girl. When the movie ended and we came out, her face was a bit pale, and her steps were unsteady. If I had known, I wouldn't have watched it. She mumbled. You used to love horror movies. What do you mean used to? She raised her voice, then quickly dropped it back down. I mean my taste back then was different from now. She almost let it slip. I pretended not to notice. Should we go home? Yeah. On the way back, she walked on my inside. This time, she didn't need my reminder. As we walked home, we passed a boba shop. Want a drink? Okay. What do you want? You choose for me. You're not picking yourself? I don't know what's popular right now. She slipped up again. The word popular gave her away. If she were a normal 28-year-old, how could she not know what boba was popular right now? I pretended I hadn't heard and ordered a peach oolong tea for her. Sweet. Once she got it in her hand and took a sip, her eyes lit up completely. This is so good. That expression, heartfelt, completely unreserved joy. It was totally different from the 28-year-old Lily Lin. When the 28-year-old Lily tasted something delicious, she would at most give an appreciative nod and say, It's decent. The 18-year-old Lily, however. At 18, Lily Lin's eyes would sparkle. She'd exclaim, This is delicious! And keep drinking, sip after sip, without a pause. Watching her, a soft spot in my heart was struck. When we got home, she slipped on her slippers and got ready for a shower. As she reached the bathroom door, she glanced back at me. You don't come in, okay? Why would I go into the bathroom? I'm just letting you know beforehand. The corner of my mouth twitched. We used to shower together. No, to be more precise, she was the one who always pulled me in with her. Now she was drawing a line, establishing who got to use the bathroom. All right, you go first. The bathroom door clicked shut, followed by the sound of running water. I sat on the couch and pulled out my phone. After a moment's hesitation, I opened Facebook. I logged into my old high school Facebook account. After a bit of searching, I finally found Lily Lynn's high school profile. Her status was online. She must have left it logged in on her computer before her shower. I opened her Facebook page. That "Should I call the cops?" post was still there. There were a few new comments. One was posted this afternoon. Lily high school account. Quick update. He took me to the movies today, a horror film. I got scared so many times and kept accidentally leaning on him. So embarrassing, ugh. But he covered my eyes for me, and his hand was so big and warm. What do I do? My heart is beating so fast. Posting this secretly while I wait for him to fall asleep. Oh, and he said the person he liked in high school was me. Is that true? Ethan actually liked me back in high school. I'm doomed. My face is burning up. The comments below. LMAO, you're still at it. You're really committed to this roleplay, huh? Give it a rest, girl. You just want to show off your relationship, just say it. So what does your husband look like? Post a pic. Marrying your high school crush 10 years later? Isn't that straight out of a fanfic? What are you complaining about? Under the last comment, Lily replied. He's really handsome, even more handsome than in high school. His jawline is sharper, and his body's gotten better too. He has pecs and abs. I wasn't peeking. He came out of the bathroom with just a towel on, I couldn't help but see. But I don't know him. I'm only 18. I was doing practice exams for college entrance yesterday. And today I wake up lying next to a man. Even if he's legally my husband, my mental age is still 18. Isn't this a crime? After reading that post, I leaned back on the couch and laughed for a full 30 seconds. This was too good. Absolutely hilarious. She was documenting her dates, with me on her Facebook page. Every word oozed with the flustered excitement of an 18-year-old girl facing her crush. I scrolled down, finding the posts from before the first one I saw. The timeline went back. The first day she woke up, she posted, What's happening? Is anyone there? Can someone tell me what's going on? Why am I in a strange house with a man lying next to me? I took a closer look. Holy crap, isn't that Ethan? Why is he here? Why is he sleeping in the same bed as me? She added a comment to her own post below. Okay, I've calmed down. Found my ID and marriage certificate in my wallet. It's definitely my name and face. Age 28. Spouse Ethan Liu. So I slept for 10 years and married Ethan? I can't understand it, I can't do it, I can't accept it. But I have to, because he's about to wake up. Act normal, act normal, act normal. The next day's post. I survived last night. He came home late and fell right asleep. But before he did, he wrapped his arm around my waist. I almost screamed right then and there. A man's hand on my waist. Even if that man is legally my husband. But I've never had a guy touch my waist before. I didn't sleep a wink all night. His hand just rested there, hot as a branding iron. I didn't dare move, afraid I'd wake him. I just stared at the ceiling and counted sheep all night. 1,342 of them. When I saw 1,342 of them, I laughed out loud. She couldn't sleep that night because my hand was on her waist. For me, it was just a habit, holding her like I always did. To me, nothing had changed. To her, it was the first time in her life a man had ever held her by the waist. Her heart must have been about to leap out of her chest. I scrolled further down. Day 3. I tried to make breakfast. But I don't know how. Mom always made it and then woke me up. I burned the eggs and the toast. He actually didn't get mad, he ate all of it. Then, before he left for work, he kissed me. He just suddenly leaned down and kissed me. Without any warning. The moment our lips touched, my brain exploded. It went completely blank. Like that blank you'd get when the last question on the math final is a type you've never seen before. After he left, I crouched by the door, and my face was on fire for a full 10 minutes. Ethan, are you always this sudden with your wife? You don't even give a girl time to prepare. The sound of water from the bathroom stopped. I quickly logged out of her Facebook page and turned off my phone screen. My heart was pounding. But it wasn't nervousness. It was a strange, unprecedented excitement. It was like getting a hold of her secret diary about her crush, and every page was about me. She had no idea I was reading it. On her Facebook page, she recorded every flutter of her heart that I caused, all with the unique clumsiness and sincerity of an 18-year-old girl. The bathroom door opened. She came out in a nightgown, her wet hair draped over her shoulders. The top button of her collar was fastened, as usual. "You can go shower," she said without looking at me, heading straight for the bedroom. "Lily." "How about I teach you how to cook tomorrow?" Her steps faltered. "Why all of a sudden? Haven't your cooking skills been a little off lately? I'll help you remember." She turned her head to look at me. "Okay." This whole teaching her to cook thing was something I'd been planning. I didn't really want to teach her to cook. I wanted to create a reasonable excuse for physical contact. It was a slow burn strategy, one step at a time. Day 5, Sunday morning. I was up at 7:30, even earlier than her. By the time she finished washing up and came into the kitchen, I already had the ingredients prepared. "Today, I'll teach you something simple. Scrambled eggs with tomatoes." "Okay." She stood at the stove, her hair tied in a high ponytail, revealing the fair, clean nape of her neck. She'd thrown a baggy sweatshirt on over her nightgown. The sweatshirt was so big that the sleeves covered her hands, leaving only her fingertips peeking out. It was ridiculously cute. "First, crack the eggs." She picked up an egg and tapped it on the side of the bowl. She used too much force, and half the shell crumbled into the bowl. "It's okay. Just fish out the broken shell with chopsticks." She fumbled with the chopsticks, and after a while, the egg yolk was a complete mess. "Forget it. Let's dump it and start over." She looked at me, dejected. "Am I really this clumsy?" "Not at all. Everyone's like this the first time they cook." "The first time?" Oops, I'd let that slip. She was a 28-year-old who'd been cooking for years. My saying it was her first time. "I mean, the first time you make this particular dish." I corrected myself. She just said, "Oh," and didn't press the issue. She got another egg. This time, I stood beside her and placed my hand over hers. Gently. "Right, just like that." Her hand trembled slightly in mine. I could feel the temperature of her fingertips, cool and slightly damp with nervous sweat. The egg was cracked perfectly. She pulled her hand back and took half a step away from me. Then what?" "Whisk it, and add a little salt." "How much?" "About this much." I took the salt shaker and poured a small pinch into her palm. The gesture felt as natural as if I'd done it a million times. But she just stared at the salt in her hand, frozen for a couple of seconds. We ran into a problem when it was time to chop the tomatoes. She was holding the knife wrong, and when I reached out to correct her, I had to stand behind her. I used my left hand to hold her steady on the tomato, and my right hand to cover hers, adjusting her grip on the knife. It basically put me in a position where I was hugging her from behind. Her body tensed up instantly. I could feel her breathing quicken. My chest was pressed against her back, and through her thin nightgown and sweatshirt, I could feel the frantic rhythm of her heartbeat. "Relax. Don't let your hand shake." "I'm not shaking." "You're shaking like a leaf." "Grip it a little tighter." "That's it. Cut slowly." The knife went down, slicing the tomato in two. "Perfect." I let go. She immediately jumped a half step to the side, her face completely red. "I can do it myself." You don't have to do that." "Do what?" "That was so close." "Don't you have to be close to teach someone how to cook? You can just tell me what to do. I'll do the cutting." All right. You cut then. A little more to the left, yes, right there." She frantically chopped the tomatoes, her knife skills a complete disaster. The tomatoes were massacred into oddly shaped chunks of all sizes. Some were as small as a thumbnail, while others were still attached by the skin. But she was cutting with intense concentration, biting her lip with her brows furrowed, as if solving a difficult math problem. When she started frying them, a drop of hot oil splattered onto the back of her hand. She yelped and pulled her hand back. I took her hand to check it. There was a small red dot on her skin, nothing serious. But I still ran it under the faucet and then gently blew on it. As I blew, her fingers curled slightly in my palm. I looked up at her. She had turned away, her gaze fixed on the stove, but the side of her face was red enough to fry an egg on. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," she squeaked, her voice barely a whisper. "Then let's keep going." Hum. The finished scrambled eggs with tomatoes were a culinary tragedy. The tomatoes had dissolved into a soupy mess, the eggs were overcooked, and there was way too much salt. But I ate every last bite. Delicious. She gave me a disbelieving look. You're lying. It's really good. Try it if you don't believe me. She picked up a small piece with her chopsticks and tasted it. Her face immediately scrunched up. It's so salty. Yeah, a little salty. We'll just use less next time. You knew it was salty, but you still said it was delicious. Anything my wife makes is delicious, of course. She poked at the eggs on her plate with her chopsticks, not saying a word. But the corners of her mouth turned up. It was the faintest of smiles. If I hadn't been watching her so closely, I would have missed it completely. After breakfast, I went to the study. I opened my computer and logged back into her high school Facebook account. There was a new post from half an hour ago. He taught me how to cook today. Scrambled eggs with tomatoes. When he stood behind me to teach me how to cut the vegetables, he basically had me surrounded. My back was against his chest, and I could feel his heartbeat. It was so steady. Not like mine, which felt like it was about to explode. The food I made was terrible, but he said it was delicious. He ate every single bite. Why has Ethan become so gentle? He wasn't like this in high school. Back then, he slept, played video games, and messed around with his buddies all day. He had this devil-may-care attitude with everyone, never saying anything serious. But the man he is now. He walks on the side closer to the street, orders for me, covers my eyes during scary movie scenes, and blows on my hand if it gets spattered with hot oil. Is it because he's grown up, or is it because he really likes me? But he doesn't know I'm not the wife he thinks he knows. He still thinks I'm the 28-year-old Lily. If he knew the truth, would he? No, I can't think about that. Anyway, my heart feels so soft today. When he blew on my hand, it felt like I'd been scalded. Not my hand. My heart. I finished the last sentence and closed my laptop. Leaning back in my chair, I stared at the ceiling. My heart was scalded. Lily. Do you have any idea how adorable you are? Starting on the 6th day, I noticed a clear shift in her attitude. She wasn't so resistant to me getting close anymore. But she was still shy. After dinner, we sat in the living room watching TV. This time, she chose a K-drama instead of letting me pick. The male lead is so handsome, she said suddenly. I glanced at the actor on the screen. A pretty boy, the flower boy type. This guy? What? You don't think he's handsome? He's average. Who do you think is handsome? Me. Her lip twitched. You're so shameless. What? Didn't you marry me because you thought I was handsome? She turned her head away, refusing to look at me. But out of the corner of my eye, I could see her secretly smiling. It was 11, time for bed. When I came out of the shower, she was already in bed. This time, she wasn't huddled against the far edge. She was just off-center, leaving a space for me. Sociologists would call this a softening of territorial instinct. I call it making progress. After I lay down, I didn't try to hold her like I had the past few nights. Instead, I extended one hand and placed it in the middle of the bed. Palm up. I didn't say anything. Her hand was just a short distance away. A minute of silence passed. And then, one finger touched mine. Tentative. Gentle. Like a cat extending a paw. It touched me, then pulled back. A few seconds later, it touched me again. This time, it didn't retreat. It rested on my fingertips. After another few seconds, the rest of her fingers slowly followed. Finally, her whole hand settled into my palm. I closed my fingers, holding it gently. The person beside me hitched her breath. Neither of us spoke. We just held hands. The warmth passing from palm to palm was more direct than any words. Her hand was cool at first, but it gradually warmed up. Her breathing, once rushed, slowly steadied. Good night, I said. Good night. Her voice was a whisper. As light as a soap bubble, ready to pop at the slightest touch. I closed my eyes, a smile playing on my lips. Our first time holding hands. No, that's not right. We've held hands countless times. But for her, this was the first. This feeling, it's better than any reality dating show. Because I'm in it. The days that followed were interesting. It was like playing a new game, with new story quests unlocking every day. Day 7, she started talking to me first. No longer just passively answering my questions, she would initiate conversations. Were you busy at work today? The weather is so nice. Want to go for a walk? What kind of noodles do you like? Spicy or not spicy? Her questions were all mundane and simple, but they carried a certain caution. Like she was testing the waters. Probing forward little by little. Day 8, she made dinner. Following a tutorial on her phone, She made a messy pot of mapo tofu. The tofu was all broken up, but the amount of Sichuan pepper was just right. I looked through your old social media posts and saw you seemed to like spicy food, she said, a little embarrassed. She scrolled through my old posts to learn what I like. The gesture was so endearing. So endearing it made me want to ruffle her hair. It's delicious. You always say it's delicious. Because it always is. Can you give me an objective opinion? Objectively? The tofu is broken, so the presentation isn't great. But the flavor is good, and the spice level is perfect. I'd give it a 7. Only a 7? Out of 10. 7 is a high score. She huffed and went back to eating, but that little smile was back at the corner of her mouth. Day 9. I was leaving for work in the morning and leaned down to kiss her. This time, she didn't pull back. She didn't yelp. She just closed her eyes. Her lips were still stiff, pressed into a thin line. But she closed her eyes. That meant she was accepting it. She didn't know how to respond yet, but she was no longer rejecting me. I let my lips touch hers for a moment, then pulled away. I didn't deepen the kiss. Can't rush things. You have to boil a frog in slowly warming water. Come back early today, she said softly. Okay. After work, I really did come home early. 6:30, an hour earlier than usual. When I opened the door, she was in the living room on a yoga mat, stretching. She was wearing sweatpants and a tight-fitting top. For a 28-year-old body, her flexibility was excellent. The angle of her bend, the curve of her waist, I let my gaze linger for 2 seconds, then looked away. I'm no saint. But for now, I have to exercise restraint. You're back? She stood up from the mat, a thin sheen of sweat on her forehead. Yeah, I promised I'd be back early. I'm going to take a shower. Wait a second. I walked over and took something out of my pocket. A hair clip. It was a simple, silver design with a small star on it. I passed by a jewelry store and saw this. I thought it would look good on you. She froze, staring at the clip in my hand and blinking several times. For me? Who else? But, it's not a special occasion. Do I need a special occasion to give you something? She reached out to take it, and as her fingertips brushed mine, I saw her eyelashes flutter. Thank you? This time, it wasn't a polite, formal thank you. It was a thank you, filled with warmth. She held the clip for a long moment before pinning it in her hair by her ear. Does it look good? She asked, looking up at me. Her eyes held the hopeful look of someone waiting for affirmation. The eyes of an 18-year-old. It looks beautiful. She smiled. Not the restrained, tight-lipped smile from before. This was a wide, toothy, eye-crinkling smile. In that instant I had a thought. If I could, I'd let her keep her 18-year-old soul for the rest of her life. Of course, that was a selfish thought. But that smile, it was just so pure. Day 10, the turning point. It happened like this. I was in a meeting at the office that afternoon with my phone on silent. When it was over, I saw I had 14 missed calls, all from Lily. My heart sank. I called her back immediately. The moment the call connected, I heard crying. You finally answered, sob. What's wrong? What happened? The power went out, and then the water heater started making this really loud noise, and I got so scared, all the lights went off. Don't panic, it's just a tripped breaker. The breaker box is in the utility closet next to the shoe cabinet by the door. Open it, I found it, but I don't know which one to press. It's the third one from the left. Push it up. Which left? My left or its left? Facing it, it's left. Hang on, let me count 1, 2, 3, this one? That's it. Push it up. I did. The lights are on. See? Everything's fine. But the water heater is still making noise. That's just the sound of it heating up automatically. It's normal, don't worry. Really? Really? The other end of the line went quiet for a few seconds. I thought something terrible had happened, she said, sniffling. Why didn't you answer your phone? I called so many times. I was in a meeting, my phone was on silent. Next time, just text me. I'll see the notification. Another moment of silence. Thank you? This, thank you, was tinged with a sniffle, with timidity, with the helplessness of an 18-year-old girl facing a strange environment all alone. My heart ached for her. She was only 18. An 18-year-old girl, suddenly transported to a completely unfamiliar house, where she didn't know anything or how to use anything. An unfamiliar phone model. Appliances she didn't know how to operate. She didn't even know the streets outside. How many moments of panic like this had she gone through while she was home alone these past few days? The circuit breaker, the water heater, the washing machine, the microwave, the robot vacuum. All things that were perfectly normal for the 28-year-old Lily were complete unknowns to her 18-year-old self. And she had gritted her teeth and shouldered it all alone for 9 days. She never said a word to me. Until today, when she finally couldn't take it anymore. "You don't have any more meetings today, right?" she asked over the phone. "No more." "Why?" "Nothing. Just asking. I'm turning my ringer volume all the way up." "Okay." After hanging up, I told my boss I had a family emergency and left early. When I got home, she was sitting on the sofa, curled into a little ball and hugging a throw pillow. She looked up sharply when I walked in. Her eyes were still red. "Why are you back?" "It's not quitting time yet, I left early." I dropped my bag on the sofa and sat down next to her. After a second's hesitation, I reached out and stroked her hair. Her body tensed slightly, but she didn't pull away. "Next time you're scared, just call me. You don't have to tough it out." "I wasn't toughing it out. 14 missed calls says you were very scared." She lowered her head, her fingers twisting the tassels on the pillow. "I'm just not used to being home alone. I'll try to come home earlier from now on." "You don't have to, I'm not a child, you're 18. Minors shouldn't be left home alone." She looked up to glare at me, her mouth opening and closing before she finally bit her lip and said nothing. But I saw the smile in the corner of her eyes. The kind you get when you've been caught but don't know it yet. That night, we made dinner together. Not that I taught her how to cook. We just cooked together. I stir-fried while she washed and chopped the vegetables and handed me the spices. We worked together perfectly. Like a young couple that had just moved into a new home. She talked a lot more during dinner. "Who were you closest to in high school?" "Leo." "You mean the fat kid? The one who always got caught by the teacher for snacking in class?" I nearly choked. Leo was definitely overweight in high school, but he's thin now. In her memory, though, he was still the fat kid. "He's not fat anymore. He lost a lot of weight." "Yeah, he lost over 50 pounds after graduation." "So what does he do now?" "He started a company. E-commerce." "What's e-commerce?" "Crap." To an 18-year-old from her time, the concept of e-commerce probably stopped at sites like Amazon, not the live stream shopping and things we have now. "It's selling things online." "Oh." She didn't press for more details. "What about you? What do you do for work?" "I'm an architect." "An architect?" Her eyes lit up. "You studied architecture?" "Yeah, I studied architecture in college." "But your high school grades?" She stopped abruptly, realizing what she was about to say was a bit rude. But the words were already halfway out. "You're wondering how I got into architecture with grades as bad as mine, right?" She nodded awkwardly. "I turned things around my senior year." "Turned things around?" "Yeah, something just clicked that year." "And why did it click that year?" "Because I happened to overhear her telling her best friend she likes smart guys." A guy's motivation. It's just that simple and blunt. Of course, I didn't say that out loud. "So you went from the bottom of the class to what?" "My rank, probably top 10 in the class." "You're lying." "Believe what you want." "You got a 19 on a math test in your sophomore year." "That's because I picked C for all the multiple choice questions." "So how did you guess?" She tilted her head, her brows furrowed as if she were trying to solve a puzzle. "It wasn't because of some girl, was it? Like one of those cheesy dramas where the guy says, 'I'll become a better man for you.' What do you think? If you actually said that, I'd find you incredibly cheesy. Then I won't say it." "But you already did." "I didn't. I just asked what you thought." "So was it or wasn't it because of, it was because of you?" Her breath hitched. Her chopsticks froze mid-air. A drop of soup fell onto the table. "I started studying hard my senior year because I heard you tell your best friend you like smart guys." The living room fell silent, as if someone had hit the pause button. She stared at me, completely still, without blinking. I speared a piece of braised pork, popped it in my mouth, and chewed a couple of times. "This is pretty good. Not too salty this time." "You, don't change the subject." "I'm not. I'm just complimenting you on your improved cooking. What you just said, it's the truth. Every single word of it." Her lips trembled for a moment before she finally set down her chopsticks. Then she lowered her head, her hair falling forward and hiding her expression. After a long moment, a very, very soft voice emerged. "Ethan." "Yeah? Can you please not say things like that so suddenly?" "Why not? My heart can't take it." From the day she said her heart can't take it, Things started to accelerate. It was as if a switch had been flipped. She started to let me get closer. Not completely, there was still a distance between us. But that distance shrank from an arm's length to half an arm's length. Then from half an arm's length to shoulder to shoulder. On the evening of the 12th day, while we were watching TV, she leaned her head on my shoulder. Neither of us said anything. She just did it, so naturally. My heart skipped a beat. But on the outside, I didn't move a muscle, just kept watching TV. Her hair brushed against my chin, tickling me, carrying the scent of her shampoo. I glanced down at her. She was looking at her phone. The screen showed her Facebook profile. She was scrolling slowly, reading post by post. I peeked at the content. It was her own old Facebook posts. The ones that the 28-year-old Lily had posted. There were photos from get-togethers with her best friend, scenery from trips, complaints about work, and a post showing off our relationship. Ethan actually remembered our anniversary today. I could cry. He even got me flowers. They're from a street stall, but it's the thought that counts, 100%. The accompanying photo was of a slightly wilted bouquet of roses. She stared at that post for a long time. Then she locked her screen. She turned her head and caught me looking at her. You were spying on my phone. You were holding it right in front of my face. How could I not see it? You should have closed your eyes. I'm not that disciplined. She huffed and shoved her phone under the cushion behind her. I didn't see anything just now. I added. You totally did. See what? You saw the one about. She paused. Never mind. The one you posted before, about the anniversary? Shut up. Street stall roses, and you still said it was the thought that counted. I said, shut up. Her voice rose, but the blush creeping across her face betrayed her. It wasn't the red of anger. It was the flush of embarrassment from having her inner thoughts seen. She was trying to understand her 28-year-old self by scrolling through her old Facebook posts. To understand her 28-year-old self's married life with me, and from the tone of that post, the 28-year-old her was in love with me. The 18-year-old her was piecing together a relationship she'd never experienced through these fragmented records. And then, she was trying to fit into those shoes. To put herself in that role. Did you used to buy me flowers often? She asked in a small voice. Occasionally. What kind of flowers? Mostly roses. Sometimes lilies. You weren't picky. I wasn't picky? You once said, it's not about how expensive the flowers are. The fact that you bought them is what matters. She was silent for a moment. That's actually a nice thing for me to have said. Tell me about it. Another moment of silence. So, in the future. She started, then stopped herself. In the future, what? Nothing. Just say it. Will you still buy them for me in the future? If you want them, I'll buy them for you every day. Who said I wanted them? I was just asking. All right, just asking. Then I'll just casually buy them. Don't. So, should I buy them or not? Buy them if you want to. Then I'll get them tomorrow. It doesn't have to be that soon. The day after? That's enough, Ethan. I laughed out loud. She threw a cushion at me. I caught it. The moment our eyes met, she quickly looked away. But she didn't pull her hand back. It was still resting on the cushion, her fingertips almost touching the back of my hand. That night, when we went to bed, she did something unprecedented. She took my hand. I didn't reach for her. She reached for me. After I turned off the lights, there was a soft rustling in the dark. Then a warm, soft hand found my fingers and intertwined with them. Our fingers locked together. Her palm was slick with a thin layer of sweat. Her heartbeat was almost audible. Back in high school, she began, her voice cutting through the darkness. In high school I watched you every day. In class, after class. When you played basketball with Leo, I'd sit by the court, pretending to read, but my eyes were always searching for you. She was talking about when she was 18. In the present tense. Because for her, it wasn't that long ago. You had a really nice smile back then. She continued, her voice as light as a petal falling on water. But you never looked at me. I did. Liar. You were always stone-faced whenever you passed my desk. I was stone-faced because I was nervous. Nervous about what? Wouldn't you be nervous walking past someone you had a crush on? Her fingers tightened in my palm. So tight it almost hurt. You really, since back then, I've liked you since our freshman year. Why? Once in PE, you got hit in the head with a volleyball. The other girls were laughing, but you stood up, smiled and said you were fine, even though your eyes were red. You noticed that? I noticed every time after that. She fell silent. Her fingers remained tangled with mine. A long time passed, so long that I thought she'd fallen asleep. There's something I want to tell you. My heart suddenly sped up. Was she going to confess? Go on. She stopped. A long silence followed. Never mind. It's nothing. Good night. She rolled over, her back to me. But she didn't let go of my hand. We were still holding hands. I didn't need to guess what she wanted to say. She wanted to tell me she wasn't the 28-year-old Lily. No, she wanted to tell me she was the 18-year-old Lily. But she couldn't say it. Why? Because she was afraid. Afraid that if she told me, I'd think she was crazy. Even more, she was afraid of shattering the delicate balance we had now. And what was that balance? It was her slowly starting to accept me, from fear to resistance, from resistance to acceptance, and from acceptance to reliance. If she confessed now, everything would reset to zero. She didn't dare to risk it. And neither did I. So we maintained this secret with a tacit understanding. She pretends to be 28. I pretend I don't know she's 18. But we hold hands every night when we sleep. It's so damn thrilling. Day 14. Something big happened that day. Or to be precise, something big almost happened. It was a Wednesday. I got home from work and found someone else in our apartment. It was Lily's best friend, Sophie. Sophie is a classic social butterfly. Enthusiastic, outgoing, and speaks without thinking. The 28-year-old Lily Lynn was her bestie. They'd known each other since college and were as thick as thieves. But the 18-year-old Lily didn't know her at all. When I walked in, Sophie was holding Lily's hand, chattering away a mile a minute. Lily, what's gotten into you? You haven't posted anything on social media for 2 weeks. You're not replying to my texts, not answering my calls. I was starting to think something happened to you. I came over today just to check on you. Lily was sitting on the sofa, her expression as stiff as a mask. Her eyes were screaming for help. The moment she saw me walk in, that look, the words "save me" were practically written on her face. Sophie's here? I said, putting my bag down and walking over as casually as I could. Hey Ethan, long time no see. Sophie grinned at me. What's up with your wife lately? It's like she's fallen off the face of the earth. She hasn't been feeling well, I said, sitting down next to Lily. She had a bad cold, so she's been resting at home. A cold? Sophie turned to Lily. You look fine to me. She's almost over it, I interjected. Sophie didn't seem suspicious. All right, fine. But Lily, you've gone too far. I sent you like a dozen texts and you didn't reply to a single one. Lily Lynn's lips moved. She didn't know how to respond. Because she didn't know Sophie. She didn't know the nature of their relationship, what tone to use, or how close they were supposed to be. One wrong word and the whole thing would be exposed. Sorry, my phone's been acting up. What kind of problem? It's There were some bugs after a system update. I cut in. It's fixed now though. Right, Lily? Yeah, it's fixed. Sophie looked at me, then back at her, and finally decided not to press the issue. But for the next half hour, the situation remained perilous. Sophie brought up several things that Lily Lynn should have known, but this Lily didn't. Remember that annoying new colleague you were talking about? What happened with that? Lily looked completely lost. I ran interference for her from the side. Lily hasn't been at work while she's been resting. We can talk about colleagues when she's back. Are you coming to the dinner Mia planned for next week? It's at that hot pot place we went to before, remember? Lily didn't remember. Let's hold off on eating out for a bit, I said. Her throat hasn't fully recovered. I kept running interference. Every time Sophie lobbed a question her way, I was there to return it, like a game of ping pong. Lily kept shooting me grateful glances from the side. Finally, Sophie left. The moment the door closed, Lily collapsed onto the sofa, letting out a long sigh. That was terrifying. You don't know Sophie? I asked, feigning ignorance. She shot up, a panicked look on her face. I know her. It's just that lately, I haven't been feeling well, so my mind's a little foggy. Yeah, I know. I didn't press the issue. She looked at me, her expression complicated. Are you hungry? Want to eat out or cook at home? Let's just cook at home. She stood up and walked toward the kitchen. As she passed by me, she suddenly paused. Then she reached out and gently tugged on the corner of my shirt. Just for a moment, then she let go. Like a cat. I watched her back as she walked into the kitchen. The hoodie was oversized, swallowing her frame. Only a single ponytail poked out from the hood, swaying from side to side. The star-shaped hair clip was fastened at the base of her ponytail, glinting as she walked. She wears it every day. She hasn't taken it off once since the day I gave it to her. That night, I checked her Facebook profile again. New post. Some woman I don't know showed up today, said she was my best friend. I had no idea who she was. Thankfully, Ethan ran interference for me. Sophie, that's her name, asked so many questions I couldn't answer, and he covered for me every single time. Like he was fiercely protecting me. Why is he always protecting me? He doesn't know I'm 18. He just thinks my head is a little fuzzy from a cold. But that protectiveness, it makes me feel so safe. After today, I've made a decision. I don't care if I'm 18 or 28 anymore. I want to be with Ethan, seriously and properly. Marrying him in this life doesn't seem like a bad deal. No, wait, it's a total win. I've seriously hit the jackpot. When I saw the words, "hit the jackpot," I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my phone. An 18-year-old girl using internet slang from the 2020s. But she really did pick it up from chatting with her classmates on Facebook. Times may have changed, but the soul of a Facebook wall never does. Day 15 to day 20. During this time, my relationship with Lily entered a whole new phase. She wasn't afraid of me anymore. Not at all. She even started to initiate. Day 15. I was working late in my study, tapping away at the keyboard, when the door creaked open. She came in carrying a mug of hot chocolate. Are you hungry? I'm okay. Thirsty then? I made you some hot chocolate. I took it and had a sip. It's good. She stood beside me, not leaving. I looked up at her. Is there something else? No. She shook her head, but still didn't move. I went back to typing. A moment later, a pair of hands rested on my shoulders from behind. Gently, as if afraid of breaking something. Then, her head rested against the back of mine. You, come to bed when you're done working. Her voice was muffled. Don't be too late. Okay. Her hands lingered on my shoulders for a few seconds before she let go and turned to leave. Only after the door closed did I realize I had typed a line of gibberish. My fingers had lost control the moment she touched me. Damn it. My own wife is hitting on me. Day 16. The 28-year-old Lily had a habit, taking selfies. Her phone's photo album had over 900 of them, from every angle and with every filter. The 18-year-old Lily had clearly inherited the gene for this habit. That afternoon, I came home to find her sitting by the window, studying her phone's front-facing camera for ages. What are you doing? Taking pictures. Let me see when you're done. No. Why not? They're too ugly. I walked over and peeked at her phone's gallery. Over 40 selfies, all from the same angle, left profile, head tilted down, a slight smile. Every single one was beautiful. But she wasn't satisfied with any of them. This one's nice, I said, pointing. How is it nice? My nose looks too big. Your nose is tiny. Look here, the lighting's wrong. It's fine. That's enough, Ethan. You have terrible taste. The old Lily would post a picture the second she took it, without a moment's hesitation. The 18-year-old Lily wasn't yet confident in her looks. She had no idea how beautiful she was. Let me take one for you. What? Here, stand by the window, the light's good. Don't move. I took her phone, stepped back a couple of paces, and found an angle. Smile. She froze, her expression completely unnatural. How do you normally smile? I don't know. Who thinks about how to smile when they're smiling? Then think of something happy. Like what? Think about the first time you tried that peach oolong tea. She paused for a second. Then, the corners of her mouth curled up involuntarily. Her eyes crinkled. I pressed the shutter. Done. Look. She leaned in to look at the photo and froze. Sunlight streamed through a gap in the curtains, hitting her face, casting it in light and shadow. Her smile was natural, her eyes were bright, and the little star on her hair clip reflected the light. Is this me? Who else would it be? How is it so much better than the ones I take myself? 'Cause I'm the one taking it. Shameless. Her words were dismissive, but behind her back, she was secretly setting the picture as her lock screen. I saw everything. And pretended I saw nothing. Day 17. This was the most thrilling day yet. It all started like this. I came out of the shower wearing only a pair of shorts, shirtless, looking for clothes in the bedroom. Standard procedure. The 28-year-old Lily wouldn't have even batted an eye. The 18-year-old Lily, however, she happened to walk in with a glass of water, looked up, saw me, and her hand shook so badly the glass almost fell. You! Why aren't you wearing a shirt? I'm looking for one. Can't you grab your clothes before you come out? This is our bedroom. But. Her gaze traveled very slowly, uncontrollably down from my face. It stopped on my chest for a second. It stopped on my abs for 2 seconds. Then, with a little yelp, she covered her eyes. Put a shirt on! Hurry up and put a shirt on! I leisurely pulled a t-shirt from the closet, watching her through her fingers and holding back a laugh. I'm dressed. She peeked through her fingers to confirm I really was dressed before lowering her hands. Her face was as red as a boiled shrimp. See, could you be a little more careful in the future? Careful about what? About your state of dress. Do I need someone's permission to be dressed or undressed in my own home? You what? Was a quick look not enough? Want me to take it off and let you look again? Go to hell. She grabbed a pillow and threw it at me, hitting me with enough force to make me stumble. Then she ran out of the bedroom, slamming the door shut. I sat on the edge of the bed and laughed for a long time. This feeling. How do I describe it? It was like I was having an affair behind my wife's back. But the person I was having an affair with was my wife herself. And this wife was a shy, newly adult 18-year-old girl, curious and bashful about everything. This combination of the forbidden and the sweet, it was addictive. Truly addictive. 2 hours later, she finally came back into the bedroom. She had calmed down, but she wouldn't look at me. Time for bed, she said. The lights went out. As usual, her hand found mine in the dark. Our fingers intertwined. But tonight she took it a step further. Her other hand reached out and rested on my arm. She wasn't hugging it, just resting it there. Her fingertips brushed lightly against my skin, as if confirming something. Ethan. Yeah? Your physique, it's okay, I guess. With that, she rolled over, her back to me. I smiled silently in the darkness. Her review. It's okay, I guess. From the same girl who almost dropped her glass of water after seeing me shirtless 2 hours ago. Day 18. She got even bolder. Going by the adaptation speed of an 18-year-old soul, she should now be in the accepting the man in front of me as my husband phase. And after acceptance, comes new needs, naturally. That evening after dinner, I was on the sofa, scrolling through my phone. She came and sat next to me. Very close. Her shoulder was pressed against mine. And then, did you kiss me today? Huh? This morning, before you left. I did. On your forehead. I know. Then why are you asking? A 2-second silence. What about now? She turned to look at me. Her face was flushed, her lips slightly parted, and her eyes held an unreadable emotion. You still haven't, you know, the other kind. What other kind? The kind on the lips? Her voice grew quieter and quieter. But I heard her clearly. She was asking for a kiss. The 18-year-old Lily was asking me if I was going to kiss her today. I put down my phone and turned to face her. Her eyes immediately filled with panic. No, that's not what I meant. Lower your head. A little lower. As if by some strange impulse, she lowered her head. I leaned in and brushed my lips against hers. Very lightly. Like a dragonfly skimming the water's surface. A brief touch, and then we parted. She was completely stunned. Her lips were still parted in the same shape. Her eyes were wide, her eyelashes fluttering like a butterfly's wings. Like that? I asked. She let out a small hum, almost inaudible. Lily. If you want one next time, just say so directly. You don't have to beat around the bush. Who's beating around the bush? I just felt like you hadn't finished your tasks for the day. Oh? My tasks? You know, the routine. It's the daily routine. So you were just helping me check off my to-do list. Yes. Just helping you check. So, is the check complete? Complete. Are you sure you don't need to double-check? She shot to her feet and practically ran back to the bedroom. Her voice, a mixture of annoyance and embarrassment, came from behind the door. No need. I heard a thump from behind the door. She must have dived onto the bed. I leaned back against the sofa, laughing until my stomach hurt. This life is so damn good. Her Facebook profile was updated. I got him to kiss me today. Yes, you read that right? I initiated it. Even though our lips just touched for a second. But in that moment, it felt like an electric shock. My lips are still tingling, and my heart is about to beat out of my chest. Then he asked if I wanted to do it again. I ran. I'm so embarrassing, hhhhh. But what do? I really want to do it again. Help, is it normal to be totally unable to sleep after your first kiss at 18? Comments. Aren't you tired of this roleplay act? You've been at it for almost 3 weeks. To be honest, you've got a loyal fanbase now. I'm here every day for the next update. Of course you can't sleep after your first kiss. You'll get used to it after a few more times. My advice, practice, practice, practice. Lily's replied to the last comment. Practice, practice, practice. Shut up. Like hell I will. 10 minutes later, she added another reply. So how exactly would one practice? Care to elaborate? I almost died laughing in the study. Day 19 to day 23. Our intimacy level skyrocketed over the next few days. She started getting used to our kiss before I left the house. She wasn't so stiff anymore. She still didn't really know how to kiss back, but at least she stopped pulling away. One time on a whim, I kissed her cheek instead of her lips. She, however, was not pleased. Why'd you kiss my cheek? Just wanted a change of pace. Who said you could change the pace? Progress. She was starting to fight for what she wanted. On the 20th day, she did something that made my heart stop. I went to the kitchen for a glass of water, and when I came back, I saw her wearing my white dress shirt. And only the shirt. Her legs were bare. The shirt was long, just barely covering the tops of her thighs. She was in front of the mirror, spinning around to look at herself. When she saw me in the doorway, she jumped, her hands shooting down to yank the hem of the shirt lower. Why didn't you knock? This is the living room. Weren't you in the kitchen? I got my water. Why you can't look? Turn around. Why are you wearing my shirt? All my clothes are in the wash. I had nothing to wear. And I just happened to see your shirt on the sofa. It was a flimsy excuse. She had at least 100 items of clothing in her closet. But I didn't call her bluff. I turned around. Behind me, I heard a flurry of frantic movement. Okay, you can turn back now. When I turned, she had already changed into her own loungewear. But the blush hadn't faded from her cheeks. Even her neck was pink. I really was only wearing it because all my clothes are dirty. I believe you. That look on your face clearly says you don't. This is my I believe you face. Ethan, do you know the corner of your mouth quirks up when you smile? That's not belief, that's a smirk. It's a gentle smile. Gentle my ass. She stormed past me and slammed the bedroom door behind her. I looked down at the shirt on the sofa. I picked it up and held it to my nose. It had her scent on it. A mix of her shampoo and her own natural fragrance. The image from before flashed through my mind unbidden. White shirt, bare legs, spinning in front of the mirror. I put the shirt down. Deep breath, stay calm. Sty. CLM. She's only 18. At least, her soul is. Can't rush this. But damn it, how was anyone supposed to resist that? A new post on her Facebook page. Did something really bold today. I tried on his shirt. I saw how good the main actress in a TV show looked wearing the leading man's shirt, so I wanted to see for myself. And of course, he walked in on me. I'm so dead. So dead, but he just turned around. He didn't try to take advantage of the situation. Ethan, how do I describe him? He seems so proper. So restrained. I'm more and more convinced my 10 years ago self was right to choose him. Well, not that I chose. It was more like I woke up and discovered I'd been chosen, but if I'd had the chance to choose 10 years ago, I would have chosen him, too. Someone in the comments asked. So, did he do anything to you that night? Lily Lynn replied. No. He did nothing of the sort. Get your mind out of the gutter. Half an hour later. He just holds my hand while we sleep. Same as always. His fingers lace perfectly with mine. He says goodnight, closes his eyes, and his breathing becomes steady. I stared at his profile for the longest time. His jawline is incredible. And his eyelashes are so long. I wonder if I show up in his dreams. The me in his dreams would be 28 though. But my face is 28 now. So that should count as dreaming of me, right? Ugh, this is so confusing. Day 21. Something big happened today. I came home from work to find her crying. Not sobbing out loud, just shedding silent tears. She was sitting on the sofa, holding her phone. On the screen was one of our old photos. I leaned closer to see. It was one of our wedding photos. She had found the wedding pictures in her phone's photo album. In the picture, she and I were smiling, looking so happy. Sunshine, a sandy beach, her white veil trailing behind her. She was hugging me from behind, her cheek pressed against my back. And now, here she was on the sofa, looking at a happiness she had never experienced, quietly weeping. Lily? What's wrong? She looked up, tear tracks still streaking her cheeks. Ethan. Yeah? Were you happy when you married her? She used her, not me. My heart clenched. Very happy. Was she good to you? Very. A little fierce at times, but wonderful. Then, did she ever do anything to make you unhappy? No. Well, actually, yes. She once ran my AirPods through the laundry. That's it. It was nothing to her, but my heart ached. A small laugh escaped her, even as the tears still glistened on her cheeks. What if one day she changed? Changed how? Like if she wasn't the person she used to be. If she became someone you didn't even recognize. Could you accept that? I looked into her eyes. Those red-rimmed eyes held so much. Fear, hope, anxiety, desire, all the turbulent emotions of an 18-year-old. As long as she's still Lily, that's all that matters. What do you mean? No matter what she becomes, 18 or 80. I intentionally included 18. A slight tremor ran through her. She's my wife. A fresh tear escaped, rolling down her lashes and landing with a soft tap on the phone's screen. It landed on our wedding photo. On the face of her happy, smiling, 28-year-old self. What if? Her voice shook. What if she's not 28 anymore? What if she's really, age doesn't matter? I reached out to wipe her tears away, my thumb brushing against her cheekbone as my palm cupped her face. You are you. Her eyes widened. She lunged into my arms, wrapping them tightly around my waist and burying her face in my chest. Her whole body shook with sobs. Why are you so good to me? Because you're my wife. But I'm not. It doesn't matter what you think you are. You are my wife. That one fact is enough. She cried for a long, long time, long enough to soak the front of my t-shirt. I held her through it all, one hand gently rubbing her back. I could feel the delicate shape of her shoulder blades. Feel her heart pounding against my chest, fast like a caged bird. When her sobs subsided, she didn't let go, she just stayed there, wrapped in my arms. Can you hold me a little tighter? I tightened my embrace. She shifted in my arms, snuggling closer until she found a comfortable spot. I don't think I want to let go. Then don't. But aren't you disgusted? I got snot and tears all over you. This is hardly the first time. I've done this before? You never cared about things like that when you cried. Sounds like the old me was a bit of a slob. A huge one. Worse than I am now. The you right now is way cuter. She nuzzled her head against my chest. She didn't argue the point. Starting on day 24, things started to change. No, that's not right. Things started to heat up. She became more and more forward, not in a shy, hesitant way. This was bold. Blatant. On the morning of the 24th day, I was at the dining table eating breakfast. She walked over, leaned down, and planted a kiss on my cheek. Morning's daily checkup. With that, she bolted. My chopsticks froze midair. The spot on my cheek tingled, hot, as if it had been branded. It was the first time she had ever kissed me first. From being the one kiss to being the one who kisses. The frog in the pot was finally cooked. No, it wasn't cooked. The frog had jumped into the boiling water all on its own. Day 25. We were watching TV, but instead of leaning on my shoulder, she plopped right down on my lap. Not enough room on the couch? Nope. The couch was an L-shaped sectional, at least 10 feet long. It could have seated a dozen people. Could you go easy on me? My leg's falling asleep. Are you calling me heavy? No, you're light as a feather. Then why is your leg falling asleep? Forget I said anything. Emboldened, she wriggled around on my lap and settled into a new position, curling up in my arms like a big cat. I looked down at her. She looked up at me. Our lips were only inches apart. I could smell the faint scent of strawberries lingering on her breath. What are you staring at? She asked. You. Had your fill? Never. She reached up and covered my eyes with her hand, but her face inched closer. What about now? Can't see a thing. Good. Then don't look. Her fingers parted just enough for me to peek through. Through the gap, I saw her lips drawing nearer, and then they were on mine, soft, warm, and tasting of strawberries. It wasn't a quick peck. Her lips lingered against mine, for 3 whole seconds. Then she pulled away. Her ears were practically glowing red. Daily checkup, she mumbled, hopping off my lap and making a run for it. There she goes again. Every time she does something bold, she runs away like a little kid who just pulled a prank. But this time, I didn't let her get away. I caught her wrist. She looked back, a flash of panic in her eyes. What is it? You can't just kiss me and run. It's not fair. What's not fair? It's my turn. I pulled her back, using my other hand to cradle the nape of her neck. I leaned in. This wasn't going to be a simple peck. As our lips met, I gently captured her lower lip between mine, softly, slowly. A shiver ran through her. Her fingers balled up in the fabric of my t-shirt. She didn't push me away, but she didn't respond either, just stood there, frozen, while I held her. 5 seconds. I released her. She opened her eyes, her gaze momentarily unfocused. The blush that started on her cheeks had now spread all the way down to her collarbone. "Checkup complete," I said. She stood there for a moment dazed. Then, without a word, she turned and walked toward the bedroom. No running this time. Just a slow, deliberate walk. She took 2 steps, then glanced back over her shoulder at me. In that one look, I saw a dizzying mix of an 18-year-old's heart-pounding crush and a 28-year-old's allure. After that one glance, she disappeared into the bedroom, shutting the door behind her. 10 seconds passed. A muffled scream echoed from inside. "Ah!" Followed by the thumping sound of a pillow being thoroughly pummeled. The sound of tossing and turning. It took a while before everything went quiet. I leaned against the sofa, closing my eyes to savor the moment. Strawberry. It was very sweet. Day 26. An unexpected incident occurred. My mom called. Not for me, but for Lily. I was at the office that afternoon, and wasn't home. When I returned, I found something was very wrong with Lily. She was sitting on the sofa, pale-faced, her phone placed beside her screen down. "What's wrong?" "Your mom called." My heart sank. My mom is a very strong-willed person. She got along well with the 28-year-old Lily Lin, because Lily was strong-willed too. 2 women like that could find a sort of mutual respect. But the 18-year-old Lily, she couldn't handle my mom at all. "What did she say?" "She said she wants to come over for dinner next weekend and told me to get ready." "And then?" "Then she asked how work has been recently." I had no idea how to answer. I just said it was going well. Then she asked about the progress on some project, and I couldn't understand a thing. The more she spoke, the more frantic she became, her voice beginning to tremble. She must have sensed something was wrong. At the end she said, "Lily, you seem like a completely different person today. You're hesitating so much." I cursed under my breath. This was a landmine I should have seen coming. We had to face it sooner or later. "It's fine. I'll take care of it." "How?" "She's already planning on coming. I'll call her and postpone." "Won't she get suspicious?" "No. I'll just tell her we've been busy with work." "But, Lily." I crouched in front of her, holding her hands. Her hands were ice cold. "Don't panic. I'm here." She looked at me, her lips quivering. "I'm really so scared." "Of what?" "Of being found out." "Found out about what?" A beat of silence. "That I'm not the Lily she knows." It was the closest she'd ever come to telling me the truth. I didn't press the issue. I just held her hands tighter. "You are Lily Lin. No matter who shows up, you are Lily. Leave everything else to me." She nodded, though the rims of her eyes were still red. That night I called my mom. "Mom, we can't do next weekend. I have to work overtime to meet a project deadline." "Overtime again? Your company is really pushing you, huh?" "Yeah, it's been pretty hectic. Let's plan something after this project is over." "How about Lily? How's she doing?" I called her during the day, and she sounded a little off. "She's got a cold, sore throat. That's why she sounded so listless." "Oh, well, make sure you take good care of her." "I will." I hung up the phone and breathed a sigh of relief. A question suddenly popped into my head. What if her 18-year-old soul is stuck in this body forever? If she can never go back, I'll have to help her rebuild her entire life. Her social circle, her professional skills, her general knowledge of the world. One step at a time. All at once, the weight on my shoulders felt immense. But strangely enough, it didn't feel like a burden. In fact, it felt grounding. Because she needed me. Not in the, "Hey, come home and kill this cockroach for me," way that the 28-year-old Lily Lin needed me. It was the, "You're the only person in the entire world I can count on" kind of need from the 18-year-old Lily Lin. To be relied on so completely by someone, it felt a little messed up, but it was also bliss. Day 27. She cooked a full dinner. 3 dishes and a soup. Braised pork ribs, broccoli with garlic, stir-fried shrimp, and tomato egg drop soup. She had followed an online recipe for everything, step by step. It didn't look perfect, the ribs were cut unevenly, and some of the shrimp were overcooked. But it tasted surprisingly delicious. "Is this for a special occasion?" I asked. "It is." "What occasion?" "It's the 27th day that I've known you." To be precise, the 27th day she had spent with me as an 18-year-old. "So this is a celebration?" In that case, I should make a toast." "Oh, you don't have to be so formal." "Miss Lily." She looked up at me. "On this, the 27th day of our acquaintance, I would like to say, go on. Your culinary skills have made a quantum leap. She stared blankly for a second. Then she scooped up a spoonful of soup and flicked it at me. You're impossible. Ha ha ha, alright, I'll stop. For real this time. She wiped her hands and sat up properly. Seriously now. Every day I've spent with you has made me happy. Sweet talker. I mean it. How can I be sure? Try these ribs. What do the ribs have to do with anything? If they taste good, then I'm telling the truth. She skeptically picked up a rib and took a bite. After a couple of chews, her expression shifted. What is it? It's too salty. Yeah, it's a little on the salty side. Then why did you say it was delicious? Because you made it. She stared at me while chewing that horribly salty rib. She finished it. And swallowed. You eat one then. I am. Have another. All right. Another one. Are you trying to pickle me from the inside out? You said it was delicious. If it's so delicious, you should have more. She shoved the plate toward me, her chin tilted up, a mischievous light in her eyes. After day 28, things started moving in a delicate direction. Her initiations were no longer limited to kisses and hugs. She began dropping hints that she wanted more. On the night of day 28, after the lights were out, we held hands as usual. But tonight she didn't roll over with her back to me. She stayed facing me. I could feel her warm breath on my face in the dark. It smelled of mint from the toothpaste she'd just used. Ethan. Yeah? What did you and she normally do at night? My heart began to pound. Sleep. Just sleep? Yep. You don't do other things? What other things are you referring to? She was quiet for a few seconds. You know, that. That what? An even longer silence. Forget it. Good night. She rolled over, her back to me now. Her breathing was uneven. I lay there, staring up at the ceiling. She was asking about sex. She wanted to know if we, the old us, had sex at night. She was curious. But too embarrassed to ask outright. She's 18, after all. It's normal. But that word, normal, did nothing to stop the flood of images rushing through my brain. I clenched my jaw. Restraint. I had to show restraint. Day 29. She asked again, not directly, but she hinted at it. We were watching a romance movie. There was a scene where the male and female leads kissed, then the screen cut to black for a few seconds. When the picture returned, the heroine was wrapped up in bedsheets. She stared at the screen for a long moment. Did they just, yep? Is that how they always show it in movies? That was one of the more reserved ways. So what do the less reserved ones look like? How old are you again? Should you be watching things like that? She whipped her head around to glare at me. What is that supposed to mean? Nothing. I'm just saying the name on your ID is 28, so you're perfectly old enough to watch. I'm only. She caught herself just in time. She'd been about to say it. Just one more word. I was so close to hearing that one word. You're only what? I only asked a simple question and you're already being sarcastic. I'm not being sarcastic. It was an objective statement. Fine, then objectively state whether you and the old me ever, we did. Isn't that what you were asking? How could you be so blunt about it? What's there to be coy about? It's a normal part of marriage. But what? In the blue glow of the television, her face was flushed beet red. But don't you think that lately, we should? She couldn't finish her sentence. I just watched her. You want to try it? A shudder ran through her. Who said anything about trying it? I was just asking. And are you done asking now? Yes. Change the channel. I silently switched to some reality show. She curled up on the other end of the sofa, hugging a throw pillow and staring intently at the screen. But I noticed something. Her hands were trembling. Her Facebook update later that night. He said they'd done it. The kind of stuff married couples do. They did it. And from his tone, it sounded like, often. I know that's normal, I know, but just thinking about this body doing those things with him. God, I wish my brain would just shut up. But I can't stop thinking. I wonder if he's gentle. Stop. Stop. I'm done thinking about it. But if I'm done, then why am I lying awake again tonight? I think maybe. I'm looking forward to it. A little. Just a tiny bit. Comments. A tiny bit? Girl, this plot is escalating way too fast. Weren't you threatening to call the cops like 2 weeks ago? Yeah, what happened to calling the cops? How'd we get to looking forward to it? Hormones are one hell of a drug. Honey, forget a tiny bit. You're practically vibrating with anticipation. Go for it, sis. Seize the day. Her reply to the last comment. Seize the day. Live in the moment. Okay. I finished reading the post and set my phone screen down on the table. I sat there for a long time, just thinking. She said, live in the moment. Did that mean she was ready? Day 30. 1 month. An entire month, from the initial fear, resistance, and panic to the present state of reliance, trust, and her taking the lead. In 30 days, an 18-year-old soul in a 28-year-old body had traced the entire trajectory of a relationship with me, from strangers to friends. From friends to lovers. From lovers to. On the night of the 30th day. It all happened very naturally. We finished dinner, watched TV for a while, and at 9:30, she said she was tired. I turned off the set, and we headed to the bedroom together. We both showered and got into our sleepwear. She was wearing a silk nightgown tonight. Not the casual, I'm just wearing this because it's hot kind of thing the 28-year-old Lily would throw on. This was one that had been carefully selected, worn with a touch of nervous anticipation. I saw the tag. It was new. I understood in an instant. We lay down. The lights went out. This time, she didn't wait for me to reach out first. She turned to face me on her own. In the pitch black, her hand came up to my face. Her fingertips slightly traced my brow, the bridge of my nose, and my lips. It was as if she was memorizing the shape of my face with her touch. Ethan. Yeah. Can you kiss me? What kind? Our usual daily checkup? No. Her voice was barely a whisper. Kind. What kind is that? The kind that's not just lips touching lips. My heart hammered against my ribs. But I didn't move immediately. Instead, I asked one more question. Are you sure? In the dark, her nod was barely perceptible, but I felt the movement of her chin. I'm sure. Tell me to stop any time if you change your mind. Okay. When the time comes, don't you go saying you talk too much. Her hand cupped the back of my head. The pressure was light, but her intention was clear. She pulled my head towards hers. The moment our lips met, they were trembling. Her lips were quivering, like a child on stage for their first performance. I didn't rush. I just held my lips against hers, doing nothing more. Waiting for her to get used to the warmth. Waiting for her trembling to slowly subside. And then I made my move. I gently took her lower lip between mine, then her upper one. As our breaths mingled, she let out a muffled groan, her fingers tightening in the hair at the back of my head. Her fingertips dug in deep. It hurt a little. But that kind of pain, it made my heart soften. I slowed my pace, as if savoring a perfectly ripe fruit. No rush. Take it slow. Her breathing grew more and more ragged. Eventually, she went boneless, melting into my arms. Her fingers slid from the back of my head to my shoulder, clenching the fabric of my shirt. Tightly. When we parted, we were both gasping for air. I couldn't see her expression in the dark, but I knew she must be blushing crimson. How was that? She didn't say anything. A long moment passed. Again. Her voice was as thin as a thread, but it was enough. The second time. It was longer than the first. And deeper. She was a fast learner. From passively accepting at the beginning, she slowly started to tentatively respond. Clumsy but earnest. Like someone learning to swim for the first time, uncoordinated but desperately paddling. Finally, she bit my lower lip, a tiny act of retaliation. You bit me. You started it. When? Just now. That's called kissing, not picking on you. Then I'm kissing you back. And she went for it again. By the time the third kiss ended, my self-control was hanging by a thread. Retreat. I had to retreat. All right. Time for bed. She didn't move. Her hand was still on my shoulder. More. Oh God. I bit the base of my tongue, using the pain to pull myself back from the brink. Sleep. But any more and I really won't be able to hold back. Do you know what not holding back means? She fell silent. Then, I know. Her voice was quieter than a mosquito's buzz, but perfectly clear. I know. I closed my eyes. For a full 10 seconds, a battle between spirit and flesh raged in my mind. Reason won. Barely. That's it for tonight. Why? Because I want to wait until you're ready to. I'm ready. Her voice was calm now. No longer trembling. It held a strange sort of certainty. Ready for what? My new lingerie. I shut my eyes as a drop of sweat trickled down my forehead. Lily. Yeah? Do you have any idea what you're saying? I do. I'm 10, I'm 28. I'm an adult. And we're married. Legally. You, Ethan, if you don't want to, then just forget it. I'll just sit here and embarrass myself. Her voice rose, laced with indignation, and she started to turn away. I grabbed her hand. Our fingers intertwined in the darkness. It's not that I don't want to. Then what is it? I'm afraid you'll regret it. I won't. You don't regret it now, but what about tomorrow? I won't regret it tomorrow either. Or the day after. I looked at her, or at least in her direction, though I couldn't see her clearly. 5 seconds passed. If we're going to do this, there's one condition. What condition? We start from the beginning. What do you mean? Not just that. We start from the very beginning. From holding hands to hugging to kissing to everything. Step by step. I don't want you to have a single bad memory. She was quiet for a long moment. Then I heard a very soft, tinged with a smile. Okay. From the beginning. From the beginning. And so that night, we started with holding hands, until the moonlight filtering through a gap in the curtains illuminated our intertwined fingers. Every step was slow. Slow enough for her to have plenty of time to adjust. Slow enough for me to hear and respond to her every shiver, every faint whimper. This wasn't like the daily routine of an 8-year marriage. It was like our first time. For her, it was. The finale was long and lingering. She was curled up in my arms, her forehead resting against my collarbone. Her breathing gradually steadied, her skin dewy with a thin layer of sweat. Ethan. You're so gentle. Were you always like this? I thought for a moment. You used to complain I was too slow and tell me to hurry up. She laughed. A muffled laugh, the vibration spreading through my chest. The old me really was shameless. You've never been the shy type. I'm very shy now. And you're very cute now. Another moment of silence passed. Yes? I think I like you. You think? Not think. She tightened her arms around me. I really like you. In that moment, I didn't care if she was 18 or 28. I didn't care if it was a soul transmigration or a temporal paradox. She was Lily Lin. The Lily I loved. Any version would do. The days that followed were a roller coaster. After that night, Lily let go completely. How completely? Morning of the 31st day. When I opened my eyes, she was already lying on top of me, her chin resting on my chest, her eyes fixed on me. You're awake? What are you doing? Watching you sleep. For how long? 40 minutes. Aren't you bored? Nope. Your mouth hangs open a little when you sleep, and sometimes you even grind your teeth. It's interesting. I pulled her down into a hug. You've changed. How have I changed? You used to jump off me the second I touched you. Now you lie on top of me and watch me for 40 minutes. The past is the past. And now? Now. She snuggled into my embrace. Now I just want to be stuck to you. I'm done for. Utterly done for. Once the 18-year-old soul version of Lily Lin catches feelings, she's even more terrifying than the 28-year-old version. Because the 28-year-old Lily Lin understood boundaries. She knew when to be intimate and when to keep her distance. The 18-year-old Lily doesn't. If she likes you, she likes you. If she wants to be clingy, she'll be clingy. If she wants to kiss, she'll kiss. There's no stopping her. Kiss me. No, time to get up. Kiss me, then we'll get up. You know I can't say no to you, don't you? She puckered her lips. The classic invitation for a kiss. I kissed her. And then she smiled, her eyes crinkling. From that day on, the first 10 minutes of every morning were requisitioned for kissing time. No phones, no talking, no turning over. Only kissing. I used to be the one doing the chasing. Now I'm the one being chased. Or more accurately, I've been caught. Day 33. I was in the living room working on a proposal, my laptop open to a CAD drawing. She came out of the bedroom, wordlessly pushed my arms aside, and settled into my lap. I'm working on a proposal. I know. You do your thing, I'll just sit here. How am I supposed to work when you're sitting on my arms? Just work around me. She leaned back, resting her head on my shoulder, and started scrolling through videos on her phone. I had no choice but to reach my arms around her to get to the keyboard. This position, I could smell the scent of her hair up close. The skin on the side of her neck was just 2 inches from my lips. I could see the tiny mole behind her ear. What proposal? I couldn't get a single thing done. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? What? You're deliberately trying to stop me from working, aren't you? Why would you think that? I was just looking for a comfortable chair. The sofa has 10 cushions. None of them are as comfortable as you. I let out a long sigh. Fine. My proposal was submitted 2 hours late. Worth it. Day 35. As I was about to leave for work in the morning, she stopped me. I'm making something special for you when you get back tonight. What are you making? I'm not telling. It's a surprise. Should I come home early then? You'd better. Our pre-departure kiss went from 1 to 3. 1 on the forehead, 1 on the nose, and 1 on the lips. A whole ritual. Then she pushed me out the door. Go on, you'll be late. When I got to the office, Leo gave my expression a complicated look. What's up with you? Find a wallet full of cash? Nope. Then what are you so happy about? You've been grinning like an idiot all morning. Your wife isn't giving you trouble anymore? So what about that whole acting younger thing you mentioned? It's fine, she's back to normal. Back to normal? So she's not acting young anymore? She's acting even younger. Leo rolled his eyes and ignored me. I left at 5:30 that evening. The entire office watched as I, who usually worked overtime until 7 or 8, practically floated out the door. When I got home, the entire apartment was filled with smoke. A clattering sound came from the kitchen. I rushed in to see. She was standing there in an apron, black smoke billowing from the pot in front of her. The remnants of various ingredients were scattered haphazardly across the countertop. From the looks of it, she was trying to make sweet and sour pork ribs. But the results were clearly a disaster. Don't come over here! She yelled when she saw me, holding a hand up to block the pot. It's not ready yet! The pot's on fire. It's not! It's smoke! Just smoke! I strode forward, turned off the stove with one hand, and cranked the range hood to its highest setting with the other. Then I pulled her away from the stove. Are you okay? Did you get burned? No. She looked down, twisting the strings of her apron. I added too much sugar, and it stuck to the pan. I wanted to make a surprise for you. She looked up at me, her eyes red-rimmed again. I followed the recipe exactly. I even measured everything. How did it? The heat was too high. You have to simmer sweet and sour ribs over low heat. The recipe didn't say low heat. I'll watch you next time. I don't want you to watch. I want to do it myself. Fine, you can do it yourself. And I'll be in charge of putting out the fires. She glared at me. Then she suddenly laughed. It was a wry smile, a mix of helplessness, frustration, and finding the whole situation a little funny. I leaned down and kissed her forehead. Order takeout? We ordered hot pot base and a bunch of ingredients for dipping that night, and had a simple hot pot at home. She ate until her face was beaded with sweat. The spiciness had her sniffling, tears streaming from her eyes as if she'd eaten wasabi. But she refused to stop. You should eat less of the spicy stuff. I can handle spice. You definitely used to be able to, but... I didn't finish the sentence. But what? But seeing how you're reacting now, maybe you can't handle it as well as you used to. It's just that these peppers are extra spicy. So stubborn. The 18-year-old Lily Lynn hadn't built up her spice tolerance yet. A moment later, the spice made her hiccup loudly. Her face flushed red, and she slapped a hand over her mouth. What's so embarrassing about a hiccup? It's mortifying. You never used to cover your mouth when you burped. You even let one rip right in front of my mom. The look on her face, shut up. Life went on day by day, filled with these domestic, ordinary, trivial little moments that were so warm they could melt your heart. Day 38. That night she wanted it again. It wasn't a hint, she said it directly. Tonight can we, yeah? You didn't even let me finish. I know what you're going to say. So you agree? When have I ever said no to you? She leaned over and gave me a quick kiss, then pulled back just as fast. Like a cat that had just stolen a fish, licking its lips but still wanting more. Wait a second, I said. For what? I'm going to take a shower. I want to take one too. You go first then. Why can't we go together? I looked at her. She didn't even blush. Well now. Just 38 days ago, she was thinking about calling the cops on me. Now she's asking to shower together. That growth rate, I can't even get my CAD software to plot a drawing that fast. You sure? I'm sure. No screaming aloud. Who would scream? The details of that night, I won't elaborate. Because this time, it wasn't a routine marital duty. It was two people coming together naturally because they liked each other. Every movement, every pause, every low, husky whisper, was filled with the beat of our hearts. Day 39 to day 44. The days flew by. She was becoming more and more like the lady of the house. It wasn't unfamiliar anymore. She knew where the remote was, how to use the washing machine, and the password for the package locker. She also learned how to bicker with me. Who did you have lunch with today? My colleagues. Male or female colleagues? Both. Were the female colleagues pretty? Average. Your wording is very subtle. Average means you still looked. I'm not blind. You're not allowed to have lunch with female colleagues anymore. You're overstepping a bit. I can't tell you what to do. I'm your wife. You are my wife. I repeated earnestly. She froze for a moment. Then she lifted her chin, her expression as proud as a little hen that had just claimed her territory. That's right. The desire for control was starting to show. After living in a 28-year-old's body for over a month, the 18-year-old soul was beginning to sharpen its own edges. Interesting. Day 45. She started looking into the 28-year-old me's job. She went through the files on the computer, read old work emails and project materials. I work in new media operations? Yep. So I just write things and post them online? More or less. I read a few of the articles I wrote. They're pretty good. You've always been a good writer. Language arts was my best subject in high school. I know. The teacher singled out your essays for praise several times. You remember that too? Of course. One time, you wrote a piece called Summer River, and the teacher posted it on the display board in the hallway. Her eyes lit up. You read it? I did. Do you remember what it said? I remember the first line. The summer of my 16th year, the river was so shallow you could see the lines on the stones. I stood on the bridge looking down, but what I saw wasn't the river, it was my own reflection. She was stunned. You even remember that? I secretly took a picture of that essay. What? You took a picture? Yeah, with that crappy 5-megapixel phone I had back then. The photo is still in my Facebook albums. Want to see? You. She opened her mouth. Why did you take a picture back then? Because I thought you wrote it well. That wasn't the whole truth. It was because it was her handwriting. The words she wrote when she was 16. Each stroke neat and tidy. Her name was signed in the bottom right corner, a little crooked, like a tiny tree about to fall over. You took a picture of my essay, she repeated, as if processing the information. I secretly took pictures of a lot of things. A photo of you running at the track meet. The back of your head as you ate in the cafeteria. Your profile as you napped at your desk between classes. You snap pictures of me? It's not sneaking pictures. It's called documenting the daily life of your crush. Her expression flickered between shock, being touched, and annoyance. It finally landed on touched. You're such a creep, she said. But her eyes were red. Creepily in love with you. Shut up. She turned away, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. I knew what she was thinking. She was thinking that our story didn't start with our marriage. It didn't start with dating. It didn't start with a confession. It started from a long time ago. As far back as an essay, a secretly taken photo, a person standing in a hallway for 5 minutes just to read the words another person wrote. This past she never knew was now rushing in like a flood, drowning her. Day 47. I noticed she had stopped posting on Facebook. Her latest update was from 3 days ago. Don't want to write anymore. Not because I'm unhappy. It's because I'm too happy. So happy that I don't need to write it down to confirm it's real. Yep. This is the last one. To the 18-year-old me still doing homework, if you ever get a chance to see this post. He's worth it. Ethan is worth it, worth betting everything on. There were no comments. By then, no one was looking at her Facebook anymore. Her high school classmates had probably muted her notifications long ago, but the post was still there, like a love letter written to herself. After I read it, I closed Facebook, and I never opened it again. Day 50. The question I'd been pondering for half a month, the showdown. When to have the showdown? How to do it? Was it even necessary? If her soul stayed here forever, then it wouldn't matter. We could just go on like this. But if one day she recovered, and the 28-year-old soul returned, then everything from these 50 days would become a secret that needed explaining. I chose to have the showdown, not because I had a guilty conscience, but because I didn't want to act anymore. I didn't want to pretend I didn't know. I wanted to tell her, openly and honestly, so what if you're 18? I like you. I like the 18-year-old you. And I like the 28-year-old you. But the method, it had to be handled delicately. It couldn't be too sudden, too serious, or feel like an interrogation. It would be best in a natural, relaxed setting, one full of trust. So I chose, the evening of the 50th day. After dinner, we were out on the balcony, enjoying the breeze. The early autumn evening wind carried a slight chill. She was wearing my jacket, leaning against the balcony railing, looking at the city lights in the distance. It's so beautiful. The city lights at night. The town she grew up in was small, without so many skyscrapers and neon lights. I'll take you to see even better views someday. Like what? Times Square in New York. The Chicago skyline from Lake Michigan. The Golden Gate Bridge at night. Are those all places you went with the old me? Yeah. But I want to go again. With you right now. She turned her head to look at me. The wind blew a strand of her hair across her face, and she reached up to brush it away. The star-shaped hair clip glinted in the reflection of the streetlights. Lily. There's something I want to tell you. Her expression tightened slightly. She probably sensed the change in my tone. What is it? Your Facebook page. Her smile froze. What? Facebook page? Your old high school account. It was as if someone had hit the pause button on her spine. She was completely still. You saw it? When? I've been seeing it since your very first post. Silence. A full 10 seconds of silence. The only sounds on the balcony were the wind and the muffled hum of traffic in the distance. Her mouth opened, closed, then opened again. You've known from the very beginning, you knew you weren't the 28-year-old Lily. That you were 18. More silence. Her fingers gripped the railing so tightly her knuckles turned white. Then, these 50 days, what about them? You knew but you pretended you didn't. Why didn't you say something sooner? Because if I had, you would have been scared. You wrote in one post about calling the cops. If I had told you I knew right away, you would have dialed 911 on the spot, wouldn't you? Her mouth hung open for a long time. Then, you saw the one about the cops? I saw it. What else? What else did you see? 1,342 sheep. Her face went from pale to beet red. And I had no choice but to see his pecs and abs. You shut your mouth. And of course I can't sleep after our first kiss. I'm going to kill you, Ethan. She raised her hand to hit me. I caught her wrist. And pulled her closer. And the last one. Her struggle stopped. What? He's worth it. Ethan is worth it. Worth betting everything on. Her eyes immediately reddened. Her wrist stopped fighting me. It went limp. She went limp. You saw everything. I saw everything. From start to finish. From the first day you woke up and found me next to you. Then I was boiling a frog. She looked stunned. It was all part of my plan. From watching movies with you, to teaching you how to cook, to giving you the hair clip, to taking you for sushi. One step at a time, to let you slowly accept me. At first, you just thought I was being a normal, nice husband. But actually, you were wooing me. That's right. I was wooing an 18-year-old girl. A terrified girl who had just woken up to find herself married to the guy who was dead last in their high school class. She looked into my eyes. Tears welled up, threatening to spill over. How could you be so what? So cunning? She gave me a shove. It wasn't strong, but it was full of emotion. You mean you were, from the very beginning, you actually what? Actually made me fall right into your trap. And you did fall for it. You're terrible, Ethan. You're the worst, you know that. She was crying and laughing at the same time, her expression a mess of emotions, like a spilled paint palette. She hammered my chest a few times with her fists. The blows were nothing like a boxer's, but I played along, letting out a couple of pained ows. You deserve it. You deserve to be hit. Yeah, I deserve it. You read all my Facebook posts. Including the super embarrassing ones. Including the one about calling the cops. And the one about practicing how to operate things. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. She lunged at me. Pressing her hand over my mouth. Pressing her hand over my mouth. Pressing her hand over my mouth. I just laughed. And pulled her into my arms. And pulled her into my arms. And pulled her into my arms. She struggled for a moment. Caught somewhere between a sob and a laugh. Before finally melting against me. She buried her face in my chest. You're the worst. She mumbled. Her voice muffled by my shirt. Why did you do all that? Because I wanted to woo you all over again. Because I wanted to woo you all over again. She fell silent. She fell silent. The wind continued to blow, catching a few strands of her hair. Catching a few strands of her hair. And brushing them against my chin. And brushing them against my chin. Ethan. Ethan. I like you so, so much. I like you so, so much. I know. I know. So, does that mean we can go for a couple more rounds tonight? Hee hee. So, does that mean we can go for a couple more rounds tonight? Hee hee. What? What? Come on, let's go shower. And head inside.